It's me, I can't be, I come home back. So cold, let me anyone. About 12 o'clock that night, war Bonche, Catherine Eusea, watching eggs upon 7 months, shoot and 2 hours after the mother did, having never recovered sufficient conscience to miss Heathcliff or know Edgar. The large distraction, a cheese bereavement, is a subject too painful to be dwelt on. Is its after showed how deep to sorrow sunk. A great addition in my eyes was his being left without an heir. I bemoaned that, as I gazed on the few orphan, and I mentally absolved Leighton for what was only natural paralysis, to sacring his estate to his own daughters instead of his sons. Unwelcome infant it was, poor thing. It might have wild out of life, and nobody carried a morsel during those first hours of existence. We Redman the neglects afterwards, but its beginning was as friendless as its end's likely to be.
Next morning, bright and cheerful outdoors, stole softly through the blinds of the silent room and suffused the couch and its occupant with a melon tender glow. Edgar Layton had his head laid on the pillow and his eyes shut. His young and fair features were almost death-like, as those are from the beside him, and almost as fixed. But his was the hush of exhausted anguish, and hers of perfect peace. Her brows moved, her lids closed, her lips wearing the expression of a smile no angel in heaven could be more beautiful than she appeared. And I partook of the infinite calm in which she lay. My mind was never in a holier frame than while I gazed on that untroubled image of divine rest. I instinctively echoed the words she had uttered a few hours before.
Incomparably beyond and above us all, whether still on earth or now in heaven, her spirit is at home with God.
I don't know if it be a peculiarity in me, but I am seldom authorized to nap while watching in the chamber of death. Showed no phrases of or zappering morn shall the Dutch white me. I see repose that neither earth nor hill can break, and I feel an answer of the endless and shadowless hereafter, the eternity they have interred, where life is boundless in its duration, and love in its sympathy, and joy in its fullness. I noticed on that occasion how much selfishness there is even in a love like Miss Linton's, when he so regretted Catherine's blessed release. To be sore on might have doubt after the wayward and impetuous existence she had led, whether she merited a heaven of peace at last. On might doubt a season of cold reflection, but not then. In the presence of her corpse, it asserted its own tranquillity, while semen and pledged of equal cats to its former inhabitants.
Do you believe that people are rapidly wardrobe, sir? I'd go glad to know.
Retracting the course of Catherine Leighton, I fear we have no right to think she is, but we'll leave her with her
The
mother.
master looked asleep, and I ventured soon after sunrise to quit the room and steal out the pure, refreshing air. The servants thought me gone to shake off the drowsiness of my protected watch. In reality, my chief motive was seeing Mr. Heathcliff. I was weeping as much for him as her. We do sometimes pity creatures that have none of the feeling either for themselves or others. When I first looked into his face, I perceived that he had got intelligence of the catastrophe, and a foolish nothing struck me that his heart was quilled, and he prayed because his lips moved, and his gaze was bent on the ground.
Vai!
Yes, she's dead, gone to heaven, I hope, where we may everyone join her if we take the warning and leave our evil ways to follow God.
Did she take the warning then? Asked Heathcliff, attempting a sneer. Did she die like a saint? Come give a true history of the event. How did?
He endeavored to pronounce the name but could not manage it, and compressing his mouth held a silent combat with his inward agony, defying meanwhile my sympathy with an encircling furious stare. How did she die? He resumed at last, fain not understanding his hardihood to have a support behind him, for after the struggle he trembled in spite of himself to his very finger ends.
Uri did his ready against the north tank, and lifting up his eyes hardly not like a man, but like a savage beast, being ready to that with knives and spears. I observed several splashes of blood about the bark of the tree, and her strength and forehead were both stained. Probably the scene and witness was a repetition of those acted during the night. It hardly moved my compassion in upon still I felt re-punctured kid in her soul. But the movement recollected himself enough to know me wanted. He thundered and commanded for me to go, and I obeyed. It was beyond my skill to quote or counsel.
Mrs. Linton's funeral was appointed the place on the Friday following her decease, and till then her coffin remained and cadre and strewn with flowers and scented leaves in the great down home. Linton spent his days and nights there, a split guardian, and a circumstance concealed from all but me. Heathcliff spent his nights at least outside, equally a stranger to repose. I had no communication with him, still I was conscious of his desire to enter, if he could, and on that Tuesday, a little after dark, when my master, from sheer fatigue, being compelled to retire a couple of hours, I went and opened one of the windows moved by his perseverance, to give him a chance of bestowing on the further image of his idol when final ideal. He did not omit to avail himself of the opportunity, Koshali and briefly. To Koshali to birthday his presence by the style test noise. Indeed, I shouldn't have discovered that he had been there, except for the disarrangement of the drapery about the corpse's face, and for observing on the floor a curl of light hair, fastened with a silver thread, which on examination I ascertained to have been taken from a locket hanged round Catherine's neck. Heathcliff had opened the trinket and cast out its contents, replacing them by a black leg of his own. I twisted the two and enclosing them together.
Mr. Arnson was of course invited to attend the remains of his sister to the grave. He sent no excuse, but he never came, so that beside her husband the mourners were wholly composed of tenants and servants. Isabella was not asked.
The place of Catherine's interment to surprise the villagers was neither the capital under the carved monument of the Lintons, nor yet by the tombs of her own relations outside. It was dug on a green slope in a corner of the kirkyard, where the wall was so low that het and bilberry plants have climbed over it from the moor, and peat mould almost buries it. Her husband lies in the same spot now, and they have each a simple headstone above, and a plain grey block at their feet, to mark their graves.